It could be said that the Vigna football dominance began on the first day of September 1969. At the beginning of the football season, the Vignas would give birth to a bouncing would-be offensive lineman. His name, like both his grandfathers before him, was William. William the Conqueror, William the Triumphant, William the All-Powerful, or as we knew him, Bill. Bill was born to play football, and as his chubby exterior would impart, he was born to play the offensive line. He would reluctantly become the fruitful beginnings of a great and legendary football lineage. He would be the first man in his family ever to don a football uniform. And although he would not be the last, he can be credited with the birth of the supremacy that is Vigna football. He was a shy and awkward little boy, often seen talking to doorknobs. Did he want a little brother, or simply an Oklahoma partner? Since he couldn't figure out how to catch a baseball without using his eye socket, he devoted all of his energy to football. His friends would not play football. One of them even became a woman. But Bill would not follow his friends into obscurity and transsexualism, for he was a leader and a lead blocker. He wore number 71, and as he grew, he developed into an offensive protecting machine. He would dabble in Pop Warner ball for a while, and then struggle at the junior high ranks, all the while honing his skills and his killer instinct. And while his proud father pushed, it was a visit from the current head coach of the varsity football team that would coax young Vigna to play 9th grade football. And like Rudy before him, Vigna's rapport with his head coach would be short-lived, as the coach would be replaced before Vigna's sophomore season. As an offensive tackle, Bill struggled with its intricacies during his first 2 seasons of varsity ball. But he would flourish in the summer before his senior campaign. Lifting weights as well as cheeseburgers, he was destined to become a force at the tackle position. He quickly earned the nickname IHOP, as he had more pound cakes than Oprah Winfrey at an all-you-can-eat breakfast buffet. And while he delivered crushing blows on offense, he also racked up valuable tackles on special teams. Vigna was as dominant in his senior season as any offensive tackle to play the game. So much so that he received the team's Most Improved Player award at the end of the season. His bone-crushing blocks were regaled in the stands, as you could hear the fans of number 71, the man they called half man, half amazing, cheer. His wondrous deeds emanated epithets like, "Wow, did you see that block?" and "That's my dog." Opposing coaches knew him and prepared for him. Opposing players feared him. He was constantly recognized and rewarded at the conclusion of each game by his peers and those he dominated on the field. While his team struggled to earn victories, Vigna continued to earn respect. And being Italian, that was damn important to him. Each game he grew more and more powerful. He blew defenders off the ball and had more people on their backs than Heidi Fleiss. Although his team would only finish with 2 victories, Bill Vigna would finish his high school football career on top.
Thank you.
What began with his brother Bill would be fittingly passed on to the next of kin. Michael Vigna, or as everyone else in the free world other than his family called him, Mike, was born like his elder brother during football season on October 3rd, 1973. He was the second Vigna child, and known in Western Pennsylvania football lore as the Second Coming. Although he would struggle with the complexities of flag football at an earlier age, he would become a football legend, a fearless field general who went from pulling out his own flags to pulling plays out of his arse when the game was on the line. He would grow up not as Bill's tackling dummy, that would come later in 1976, but as an awesome athlete. He would shun the mundane workings of the offensive lineman and walk on the trade of quarterback, the most valuable and prestigious position on the football field. When he was a small boy, God reached down and turned his right arm into a thunderbolt. He would utilize this gift on and off the football field. He would dominate his youth outside the gridiron as an overpowering pitcher, and he once gunned down a would-be scoring runner from about 400 feet at the center field wall in an all-star baseball game. He would not play Pee Wee football, as he shifted his attention to starring in Little League Baseball and CYO basketball. Throughout the town of Leechburg, he left one everlasting message: that Vigna kid can play. Unfortunately, that message was lost on just about all of his football coaches as they decided to screw him rather than play him. In junior varsity ball, Vigna displayed the skill that God had bestowed upon him. He threw all over the field as he ran the successful JV squad. He even led his teammates to victory as a sophomore after sustaining a broken finger on his throwing hand in the third quarter of a game. For a quarter and a half, Vigna slung the ball around the field with no regard for his broken hand, only thoughts of victory. His efforts would not go unnoticed, but his sophomore season would end with that victory and a cast on his right arm. As a junior, he would not get a chance to play as much varsity quarterback as he deserved. He was constantly overlooked as his team was mired in a 2-8 season. He decided to instead dominate the defensive side of the ball. As a quick and cunning safety, Vigna found his way into the starting lineup early in his junior year. He would keep that starting position until late in the season when he suffered a crushing concussion. Although the expression on his face was hilarious as he staggered off the field, it would end his season. Continually screwed and much maligned, Vigna made his presence felt his senior year. He finally got his start, and he made the most of it. Throwing for 1,100 yards, he gained the respect and admiration of his coaches, teammates, and opposing teams. The Wilmington coach commented that the Leechburg quarterback surprised them, as Vigna led the 21-point underdog Blue Devils to victory. He rifled the ball all over the field with precision. He battled adversity his whole career and shone when he finally got his chance. He was without a doubt the most heralded quarterback for the Leechburg Blue Devil football team of the 1990s. And he had great hair. He would earn all kinds of awards and honors his senior season, including MVP of the nationally televised Riverview game during rivalry week on Comcast Cable. He was to be the only Vigna son ever to finish his high school career with a winning record. Michael Vigna was perhaps the most talented and most successful Vigna to play football, but there is no question that as Vigna dominated his position, Everyone wanted to be like Mike.
Sometimes I dream that he is me. You got to see that's how I dream to be.
I dream I move,
I dream I groove.
like Mike. If I could be like Mike. Yeah, I try. Just need to fly.
Just one day if I could be their way. Dream I move,
Dream I groove, like Mike. If I could be like Mike. Oh, if I could be like Mike. If I could be like Mike. Be like Mike.
be like Mike. Be like Mike. Be like Mike. Be like Mike. Sing to soar.
Can hear the roar like Mike. If I could be like Mike. Like Mike. If I could be like Mike.
Oh, gonna be like Mike. 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 Be like Mike.
If I could be like Mike.
Be like Mike.
If I could be like Mike.
Be like Mike.
If I could be like Mike.
Be like Mike.
If I could be like Mike.
Be like Mike.
If I could be like Mike.
Be like Mike. Like Mike.
If I could be like Mike.
The last chapter of the Vigna football saga would be written at the end of the football season on January 21st, 1976. The smallest of the Vigna boys, Mark Vigna, would be a giant on the football field, for his brothers would hone their football skills by continually beating him into the ground. Too small to do anything really, his mother refused to let him play pee-wee football. Although his body was the very epitome of pee-wee, his begging to play football at an early age would fall on deaf ears. While he idolized his oldest brother Bill, he would follow the path of his older brother Michael in baseball and basketball lore. He was not nearly as good as the elder Vigna in either, but like Pee-wee Herman, he held his own. Of course, unlike his brother Bill, he could actually catch a fly ball, and rather well. As he was patrolling center field, the most important position in baseball, as a rookie 13-year-old in senior league. Like Michael before him, he gunned down some sucker in the last inning of a crucial All-Star game and ultimately received the game ball. Although he could not see past his nose at age 14, he was a sharp-shooting guard and a defensive stalwart on the basketball court for the CYO. He finally got his shot at football in the 8th grade. He would play right away and start at split end. As would become his standard, he made no receptions that year. In 9th grade, he would again start at split end. Although he would make less than 10 receptions that year, he did score the game-winning touchdown for his team in Week 1 with a catch in the back of the end zone against Richland. It was on defense that Vigna would do the most damage in 9th grade. At defensive end, he led his teams in sacks that year and in one game recovered 3 fumbles. As a sophomore, Vigna realized the childhood dream that he had since watching his oldest brother Bill in the mid-80s. He made varsity. That year, he would make a key impact on kickoff coverage on special teams, collecting a handful of tackles, including a game-saving tackle against Richland in Week 3. He would also recover a fumble against conference rival Ltown. His proudest moment that year came in the first game against Apollo, when he vowed he would make the first tackle of the season for his oldest brother Bill, who was in attendance. When Leechburg deferred the toss and kicked off first, his promise was kept as he swooped down the field and recorded the tackle. He was also honored that year by playing with his older brother Michael. He witnessed the elder Vigna heroically lead their team to a winning record, and had his own name accidentally announced a number of times in the star quarterback's place. His junior year saw him receive time at split end and tight end. He would throw key blocks all year from the tight end position and unselfishly open holes for his running attack. He made 3 catches that year. On the JV squad, Vigna wreaked hell on opposing teams, catching, blocking, and tackling his way to prominence. While he finished his JV career without a touchdown catch, he did record 3 interceptions, 2 in one game as a defensive end. In his senior season, he, like his brother Michael before him, was honored as team captain. He would serve this role perfectly as team spokesman and motivator. Again, he would start at split end and tight end. He took a page out of his older brother Bill's playbook by delivering crushing blocks. All his weight training over a 5-year span paid off as he developed into the most feared blocking tight end ever to play high school football. He was again overlooked as a receiver. Although he made only 12 receptions his senior year, he was known in the locker room as 7-11 because he was always open. It was from his defensive end position that Vigna made his mark during his senior season. Dare I say he was the most dominant 150-pound defensive end to ever play the game of football. He was a force at defensive end, despite his team's defensive struggles. He scored his team's only defensive touchdown that year when he raced 50 yards with a fumble recovery. He would go on to lead his team that year in sacks and fumble recoveries. While his football career did not amount to as much as his predecessors, Bill and Michael, he did break a WPIAL record as a receiver for the most times not thrown the football in a single season. Mark would end the great Vigna football pedigree, and while his team would not be successful, he would succeed at upholding the glorious tradition of football dominance that his brothers had established. He was to be the final torchbearer, and would proudly walk off Veterans Memorial Field as keeper of an awesome football legacy never before seen in the town of Leechburg. These three legendary men, heroes of the gridiron, would uphold a standard of football preeminence that could not be matched by any family east of the Kiskiminitis. In the immortal words of Hall of Fame linebacker Jack Lambert,
If I could start my life all over again, I would be a
high school,
football player, and you damn well better believe I'd be a
Vigna. And so these band of brothers, these proud kinsmen, each left an indelible mark on Leechburg football. What began with Bill, flourished with Michael, and ended with Mark would be nothing less than Vigna family football dominance. This is special commentary for the film Vigna Family Football Dominance. Based on my own football experiences, I was going to call it Welcome to My Nightmare, but I couldn't get the copyrights off Alex Cooper. I actually wrote the script to this movie early in 1999. I don't remember why, but the idea just came to me. Maybe it was an epiphany or an enlightenment, or maybe it was just something I ate. Whatever it was, I wrote it in 3 parts. First, I wrote all the copy for Bill, Michael, and I, the stories, the commentary. Then I wrote the opening credits. It wasn't until later that I even decided to write closing credits, but I liked the song Ashokan Farewell from the Civil War series, and I thought that'd be a great song for closing credits. So I decided to write closing credits based on that song. Keep in mind, when I wrote this movie back in 1999, Lexi hadn't been born, Jack and I weren't married yet, Tyler obviously hadn't been born, and Bill hadn't even met Debbie. I mean, it's too damn bad. She could have whipped his ass into shape a lot sooner, but oh well. So I had to almost completely change the closing credits some 3 to 4 years after I'd originally written them. The movie itself was quite a production. We didn't have a big budget like Waterworld, but it was just about as hard to pull off. Remember, when I wrote this film, I didn't have any of the technology that I have now. I hadn't even heard of it. Plus, all the game footage I had was on VHS. Now, even after I was able to get the software where I could download video onto my computer, I still couldn't convert VHS stuff into mini DV stuff. But I went ahead and watched all those videos and pulled and edited things I found worth using. In short, I watched a lot of bad football to find a few gems, particularly for Bill and I. First, Bill and I had one stinking tape against Burl, which would explain why all of his football footage came from the same game. Plus, it was old and grainy, kind of like Bill himself. And as an offensive lineman, you have to pick Bill out of each play. And since the video was shot from the press box, it was a real chore. So when you watch Bill's part of the movie and you see the video clips, it's him doing something good. Just trust me. I've tried to help a little bit by spot shadowing him, and I'll try to edit that part out where I screw up the word spot shadow. Then there was my stuff, which was more plentiful but also more putrid. I played on a very bad team my senior year, and I wasn't exactly Paul Hornung. In other words, I wasn't a dominating player who stood out on a bad team. By the way, Paul Hornung was the only person to win the Heisman Trophy while playing on a losing team. Of course, he played for Notre Dame, so that should explain a lot. Anyway, my team stunk, and I wasn't much better. I had made a career of not getting passed to as a wide receiver, so I didn't have many catches to throw into the movie. Defensively, I weighed 150 pounds and played defensive end on the defensive line, so as you can imagine, I spent most of my time buried on the ground and not making highlight reel type tackles. Some of the footage is from my junior year, taken from the team's highlight film. But in most cases, like Bill, you really have to look for me. I've also spot shadowed myself in those cases. Michael, like most of his high school dates, was easy. I'm just kidding, Kathy. Not only did he have an entire portion of his team's highlight reel devoted to him, but he played QB and had a ton of stuff I could use. The problem with Michael was that he had too much stuff. I had to be selective. I would have used video of Bill and me scratching ourselves if I could find it, but not Michael. I was turning away good plays. He was your typical pretty boy QB with a strong arm and lots of great plays to choose from. What a prick. Can you tell I'm a little bitter? At least during his senior year and my sophomore year, my name got accidentally announced instead of his on some of his touchdown passes, and on occasion when he was announced as captain. One play of his I wish I had on tape but didn't was a punt he had his junior year against Geibel. His team was backed up against the goal line and he kicked the hell out of it. I don't remember how far it traveled, but legend has it that it went some 70 plus yards. All I remember was watching the punt returner stand around midfield and just watch the ball sail over his head by at least 20 yards. He didn't even move, he just stood there and watched. It was like a right fielder when Barry Bonds smashes a home run into the bay. So I had the video footage, now I needed still shots. So I went home and grabbed most, if not all of Mom and Dad's pictures and brought them back to Pittsburgh. Jackie and I spent the better portion of 6 months scanning those bad boys in. It was a major pain in the ass. Next I had to find music. Now I knew there was some good NFL films music, but I didn't know how to get it. I looked on the internet for WAV files, MPEGs, anything. Then they came out with a CD called For the Power and Glory, or some crap like that. My neighbor bought it and I listened to it. I was able to find some good football music from that. Then we got the software that allows you to pirate music off the internet. That really helped. That's where I found the Be Like Mike song. I know I used it during Michael's 30th birthday movie, but I originally planned to use it for this movie all along. The only reason I used it for Michael's birthday was because I figured I was never going to get this project off the ground and I thought it would never see the light of day. And it was really appropriate, obviously, with his name being Mike, or Michael as Mom made us always call him, lest we die 1,000 deaths. Even now I'm writing this commentary not knowing if I can even pull this damn thing off. So I had the video, I had the pictures, and I had the music, but I didn't have the first damn clue how to do the movie. when Jackie and I made Lexi's first birthday movie, we had to do the guy, not do the guy, I mean, that's disgusting. We had to, we had to have a guy record it from his computer, which is why it was very choppy and blurry. It's analog. It wasn't until Jackie and I got a new computer that the better software was even available that I could even do Tyler's baptism movie and Michael's birthday movie. Even then, I couldn't convert VHS onto my computer. Then Jackie and I got a new camcorder, which allowed us to tape onto camera from the VCR. That was the last piece to the puzzle. Pretty expensive piece, but you know, what the hell. I recorded the narration. I recorded the narration a long time ago. Probably early year 2000. So what I've been doing for the past 3.5 years? Well, I made a CD with all the commentary and music and basically listened to it every day for 3 years while I watched the game film footage I had collected on the VCR while I jogged on the treadmill. But as you can tell over the past few years, as I gained more weight, I haven't done that in a while. Yes, I know it's sad, but you're listening to a guy who once videotaped a video game made up of his high school team. Plus, you know me, so you already know I'm pathetic. Over the past, 5 years? What's it been? Good Lord. Things have happened. Obviously, Lexi came along, Tyler came along. When I first wrote the credits, Jackie was listed as Mark's girlfriend, and her name was Shavala. Bill met Debbie, and now they're about to have kids. Hopefully, by the time you watch this, they'll have had them, and they'll be on here. But a lot's changed since I started, and it's been a labor of love, a life's journey, so to speak, which is even more pathetic now that I say that. But it's been over 5 years since I first wrote the movie, and I hope everything works out. I hope that I'm able to do it. I hope that what I've envisioned comes to life, which again sounds pretty pathetic considering it's just a little hobby of mine. But I hope everybody enjoys it. Don't forget to watch the slide of family pictures as well, which I'm torn on whether or not I'm going to do. But so I hope that everybody likes it. I hope it brings back great memories for Bill, Michael, and me, which it already did. I hope that our kids watch it and are able to take some pride in the mediocre careers that their fathers had and the lowest class of high school football that exists. So anyway, I hope you enjoy it, and thanks for listening. Just one little editor's note. I decided to keep the goof in there when I say the word narration or whatever the hell it was, just for comedy's sake. And if you're able to hear a slight faint music in the background, that's Christmas music that I was listening to while I was recording this. Also, I just want to publicly say that I am a moron. No, I just want to say that while she won't take credit for it, Jackie played a large role in this. Never could I have done any of it without her computer knowledge and helping me figure this crap out. Not to mention, again, scanning those pictures in for the slideshow, which I hope is a part of this. I'm still not sure. It's a lot of work, but she helped scan a lot of those pictures in, which it is time consuming. It's not rocket science, but it takes a lot of time. So I want to thank her because not only is she married to a goofball, but she helps out. So again, Christmas music in the background, screw-ups in the narration, which are funny, and Jackie really is great. So I will talk to you later. Hopefully Tyler will carry on the tradition here, be a little bit better than his old man was, but we'll see. We won't pressure him, and we'll disown him if he doesn't play. But anyhow, have a good time. Enjoy. Hope you enjoyed watching it. Hope you enjoyed listening to this commentary, and look forward to many years of crap like this.
These are the days of the endless summer. These are the days, the time is now. There is no past, there's only future. There's only here, there's only now. Oh, your smiling face, your gracious presence, are the fires of spring, are kindling bright, are the radiant heart, you're the song of glory, the cry of freedom in the night. These are the days by the sparkling river, His timely grace and our treasured faith. This is the love of the one magician. Turn the water, yeah, into wine. All right. These are the days of the endless dancing, yeah, the long walks on the summer night. These are the days of the true romancing, when I'm holding you, oh so tight. These are the days of a sparkling river, and His timely grace in the treasured find. This is the love of the one great magician, and the water into wine. These are the days now that we must savor, and we must enjoy as we can. These are the days that will last forever. You got to hold them, yeah, in your heart. Na 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 na, na 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 na, na na na, na 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 na, na 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 na.
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind, hanging on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos of memories and dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind, hanging on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos of memories and dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.